Imagine giving your heart to someone only to be treated like a gold digger by their wealthy parents. A humble black woman, with grace in her voice and strength in her soul, is forced to sign a prenup by the millionaire's snobbish family. But what none of them knew was that her father, long estranged, was a ghost in the billionaire world. And when the truth explodes, the entire elite society gasps. Stay with this story, and if it grips your heart even once, smash that subscribe button, so you never miss stories that flip the world upside down. It all began in a charming cafe tucked away in Brooklyn, where Jamila Thompson, a brilliant, soft-spoken black woman who worked 2 jobs to support her sick mother, was wiping down a table when a man named Alexander Hargrove, son of the infamous real estate moguls Charles and Victoria Hargrove, spilled his espresso trying to flirt with her. And though she rolled her eyes at his arrogance, she never expected this clumsy moment to be the beginning of a love story that would turn her world upside down. As their connection deepened over the weeks, Jamila learned Alexander wasn't just rich, he was heir to a multi-billion-dollar empire. And yet he had a kind heart, one that defied his cold, snobbish family, especially his mother, who was livid that her son had fallen in love with a black woman from the wrong side of society. But Alexander didn't care. And despite the tension, he proposed in Central Park, under falling autumn leaves, in front of dozens of cheering strangers, and Jamila said yes with tears in her eyes, believing love would overcome it all. Until the engagement party, where Victoria publicly presented her with a prenup, humiliating her in front of hundreds of elite guests. Her hands trembled as she held the paper, but she signed it, not because she had no pride, but because she had more integrity than every diamond-draped socialite in the room. Though something shifted inside her that night, a pain she tucked away, as she prepared to marry the man she loved. Unaware that destiny was about to shatter everything she thought she knew about her own bloodline, Dot opened with a letter faded and torn. Jamila found while clearing out her mother's attic after a stroke landed the poor woman in the hospital, and the handwriting stopped her breath. It was addressed to her mother from a man named Barrett, and as Jamila read the words, her hands went numb, for it wasn't just any letter. It was a confession from a man who claimed to be Jamila's biological father, a man her mother had sworn died decades ago. And not only was he alive, but according to the letter, he had built a hidden empire under the alias Barrett Cole, one of the most elusive and mysterious billionaires in Europe, who never gave public interviews and never appeared in tabloids, known only for reshaping global renewable energy with silent power. Jamila thought it had to be a mistake until she flew to Geneva, using the address scribbled on the back of the envelope, and knocked on the towering metal gate of a secluded mansion nestled in the Swiss Alps, where a butler stared at her with wide eyes and called her Miss Cole before she could even explain. What followed was the most surreal experience of her life as she met Barrett Cole, a tall, silver-haired black man with fierce eyes and a trembling voice when he whispered, "Jamila, my daughter." And while emotions spiraled and past betrayals between her parents surfaced, Jamila learned that her mother had hidden her identity to protect her from the dangerous rivals Barrett had in his rise to the top. But now, seeing the fire in Jamila's soul, he knew she was ready to take her rightful place. Meanwhile, back in Manhattan, the Hargrove family was panicking because rumors were swirling about a mysterious billionaire heiress making waves in global finance and tech. And Victoria, in her arrogance, didn't connect the dots until the wedding rehearsal dinner, when Barrett arrived in a $40 million electric helicopter, wearing a midnight black suit, and escorted his daughter into the ballroom like royalty, declaring publicly in front of everyone, "My daughter signed your prenup not because she needed your money, but because she was raised with dignity. You thought you were marrying beneath you, little did you know, you've always been beneath her." Turned into a firestorm across media and society, every outlet from Forbes to TMZ covered the revelation that Jamila Cole, once a waitress, was the secret heiress to the Cole energy empire. And while Alexander tried to stand beside her, The divide between them grew as the power dynamics flipped. Jamila, once sweet and timid, now sat on boards, made calls that moved markets, and carried herself with the poise of a queen, not out of revenge, but out of purpose, realizing she could change the world from the inside out. And yet, Alexander felt lost in her shadow, resenting the woman he once claimed to love, and cracks formed between them. Worsened when Victoria secretly tried to annul the marriage plan by filing a lawsuit claiming Barrett had manipulated their family's assets until Jamila, in a televised courtroom showdown, produced audio evidence of Victoria's racist remarks and backroom deals with rival developers to sabotage coal energy, resulting in a countersuit that not only cleared Barrett's name, but had the Hargrove matriarch facing indictment, her reputation destroyed in the very circles she once ruled. As Victoria wept behind dark glasses and Alexander watched helplessly, Jamila rose from the ashes not as someone's fiancé or charity case, but as a woman who had reclaimed her lineage, her power, and her name. But love, that stubborn thing, wasn't done with her yet, because in the quiet after the chaos, Alexander found her at the park bench where they first met and whispered, "I don't care if I have less now. I just want to build more with you." And for the first time in months, Jamila smiled, not as a billionaire's daughter, not as a media sensation, but as a woman still capable of forgiving, rebuilding, and loving, even after betrayal. The final arc took the story to new heights literally, as Jamila launched the Legacy Initiative, an education and entrepreneurship foundation aimed at helping young girls of color break into industries traditionally barred to them. And during the inaugural gala hosted at the Met, every major figure in tech, finance, and politics showed up, including Barrett, now proudly introducing Jamila as his successor, while Alexander, now working as an executive director for the charity, supported her not just in love, but in mission. The Hargroves were nowhere to be found. Victoria had quietly retired to avoid public disgrace, and Charles had divorced her out of shame. But karma had done its job, and Jamila, once mocked for her skin, her job, her lack of status, now stood as a symbol of what grace under fire could birth. Reporters begged her for interviews. Hollywood wanted movie rights. But Jamila only said this on live TV: never let someone's last name make you feel small. And never sign away your worth even if you sign a paper, because true wealth, it's in the heart, the hustle, and the heritage you don't even know you carry yet. As applause thundered across the nation, and aerial shots of the gala flooded every social feed, one thing was clear: the girl they once thought didn't belong in high society had just redefined it, and every little black girl watching her that night knew anything was possible. And if this story sparked even one fire in your soul, hit subscribe and join us, because stories like this, they're not just entertainment. They're a revolution waiting to happen.